Hello there. Didn't see you come in. I'm thinking tropical. What are you thinking? You thinking tiki? It's my favorite cocktail subculture, and I'm about to indoctrinate you into its own specific cult with the iconic Mai Tai, which was created by trader Vic Bergeron in the 30s, although his competitor just across the way in California would claim that he created the Mai Tai, which is a bit of a contested history in and of itself. We're going to be making cocktails with quite a bit of rum today, and I hope you're in for a good time, not a long time, because you will be on the floor in no time if you consume enough of these tiki cocktails. The Mai Tai has been butchered and bastardized by people who have no care or consideration for the artfulness, for the craft that is involved in making a beautifully delicious combination of fruit juice and jet fuel, as I like to call it. I am using orange curacao, which is a delectable sort of orange liqueur. Plenty of fresh lime juice. Do not let anyone serve you a Mai Tai that has any sort of bizarro fruit punch or pineapple juice. That is not part of a Mai Tai. It is simply lime juice, orange liqueur, two different styles of rum, and orgeat. That's how you pronounce it. It is spelled O-R-G-E-A-T, but it is pronounced orgeat, okay? Don't call it orgeat or orgeat, because then you just seem completely unsophisticated and you're not qualified to drink tiki cocktails if you cannot pronounce this fantastic almond-based syrup, which is an essential component of tiki cocktails. My barback very selfishly forgot to remove the plastic insides of my specific bottle of orgeat, and therefore they will be quickly fired and dismissed because we only accept excellence here at this bar. Now I'm adding a second style of rum, half an ounce of dark rum, in this case, Gosling's. Fun fact, Gosling's has trademarked the cocktail name Dark and Stormy. You cannot call it a Dark and Storming if it's not made with Gosling's. Fun fact. Tiki is one of the few available joys left to me, as I was recently diagnosed with celiac disease, which means I'm allergic to gluten. Would you like to know what the profound irony of that is? I'm a food critic. Isn't that just fantastic? No, we don't need to shake for too long because, like most tiki cocktails, we're serving this over crushed ice. Crushed ice is actually a great way, if you don't have a therapist or you haven't seen your therapist today, to work out all of your stresses and anxieties, because if you don't have a crushed ice maker in your fridge, you use something that's like a cloth bag with a giant 4-hammer mallet, and you just go ahead and smash the out of the cubed ice until it's the desired consistency. The reason we use crushed ice in tiki cocktails is because they're boozy AF. And we want to keep our drink frigid, frosty, like my heart. We're going to mound more crushed ice on top of it. And you know what we're going to have to do for garnish? Do you know? Are you prepared? It's going to be very exciting. First of all, we're going to cut a lime wheel. That's not the exciting part, but I like to keep you in suspense because I'm an entertainer, after all. We're making a big mess. That's fine. That's half the fun. You know who it is. Your friendly neighborhood herb garden skank, Mint, who's ready for a good hard spank. Remember, a little spray from the crushed ice on your hands really just adds to the full excitement of this particular affair. And there we have our classic Mai Tai. We're going to continue with a Cobra's Fang, a lesser-known tiki cocktail which was created by Don the Beachcomber, which was not his real name. His name was Ernest Raymond Gant, which just doesn't quite sound as sexy. But the Cobra's Fang was quite popular in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and then it kind of was lost to time because it involves a syrup that no one's ever heard of and very few people know how to make, because Don the Beachcomber, aka Ernest Gant, was notoriously secretive about all of his recipes because he was afraid his competitors, like Trader Vic, would come and steal them from him. And so as a result, he would label all of his ingredients and mixes and syrups Don's Mix number 5 or Don's Mix number 4. So Fascinola syrup was lost to time until recently a tiki resurgence made it possible for people to figure out how to create this syrup. I don't have any Fascinola syrup, so I'm going to be using passion fruit syrup, which is one of the key ingredients in Fasciola, along with guava, cherries, and red berries. And we're gonna add some more citrus because we like to add our fruit juice to our jet fuel, as discussed. The worst part about being celiac is when people try to convince you that cauliflower can be pizza. It simply cannot. And I do not live in that world of delusion, and I refuse to be subscribed to that particular thought experiment, okay? Cauliflower has already conquered rice, but I refuse to let it become pizza. The other thing is the complete lack of levity in every sort of baked good. A croissant is simply not a croissant when it is flat and sad and dense. It should be fun and exciting and lighthearted. It's none of those things. Don Beach, much like the people who work for Big Cauliflower, was a masterful marketeer. He came from some degree of wealth, and his parents sent him to live with his grandpappy in New Orleans in the early 1900s. He was born in 1907. And so his grandpappy took him out on his yacht as part of his import-export business and let him travel the world, in which case Don Beach became absolutely enamored with exploring the world, and specifically the South Pacific. After returning from his travels, his parents gave him the option, hey, you want to go to college? Or do you just want to use that money for whatever the hell you want? And he said, you know what? I'll just take the money and run. Honestly, I have no idea how many ingredients I've put in here because there's about 16 of them, but we're just going to hope for the best. But as I always say, it's about participation, not perfection, so we're not going to stress too much, and the fun part is coming up. Technically, you're supposed to make this specific cocktail in a flash blender, AKA a milkshake machine, but I don't own a 1950s creamery, and I assume you don't either. So we're just gonna give it a short shake, and then we're gonna mound an absolute ton of crushed ice into our fantastic peacock tiki mug. We may need more emergency crushed ice, but that's okay. My friends are gonna help me make this possible. We're gonna realize our dreams of the Cobra's Fang. We're straining into our beautiful peacock. It is bubbling down into the hollows of our taxidermied ceramic peacock. And now I may have enough crushed ice, in fact. I'm just gonna use my hands to get it right in there. And then we're gonna do the really fun part. There's more mint involved, but I'm actually gonna take one of these spent lime shells, and I'm gonna take a bit of my overproof rum, and we're gonna just put it gently in there. Now we light our overproof rum on fire. The thing with these flames is that you never know if it's happening or not, or if I'm just bruleeing the top of this lime. There it is. Now, are you ready for some fireworks? Pyrotechnics. It's fine. It's fine. I'm skeptical. Okay. What could have gone wrong? Nothing. Now we enjoy our lovely tiki cocktail, Cobra's Fang, with a little bit of pyrotechnic action because I am truly unhinged. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to having you back.